Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session of our webinar series, A Day in the Life. We are very excited to have Stanley with us this evening. Stanley, welcome, and thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk to us here at Gradlinc.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here today as well.
Yeah, I've heard such great things about you, and like I mentioned to you now on the back end, like your LinkedIn page is so inspirational that I think there's a lot of value that the audience is going to take out of our chat today. So it's going to be very, very cool.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's get started. As always, like I tell our guest speakers, we think half an hour is a long time, but it actually goes by pretty quickly. Stanley, let's start at the beginning. What did you study once upon a time?
So yeah, I think I would start with when I was like high school. I think I was really into like science and tech, so I kind of knew that I would be heading towards that direction, like doing something around engineering. But actually, I did want to study medicine, but my parents actually knocked me out of it. They were like, "No, you build robots and you build like really cool tech projects. Why would you want to go and do medicine?" And I think the reason because I found biology easy to learn. Like biology
Yeah.
was so easy to come to me, so I was like, "Why would I want to go and tackle maths and physics while I love biology as well?" So I think that pushed me to a direction to study industrial engineering, where I got a scholarship to study in Morocco. I did that for like 3 years. Then I dropped out. I dropped out because I knew I didn't want to do engineering. I knew even though I was good at it, I had great grades, but I knew I didn't want to do engineering. So I dropped out. I used that time to start my startup and organization at the moment. Then I knew I also needed to get a degree because I wanted to do masters in something. I wanted to like push my education, of course.
Yeah.
Then yeah, currently I'm studying entrepreneurial leadership at the African Leadership University. So yeah,
Africa Leadership University. Where is that based, Stanley?
it's in Kigali, Rwanda. Yeah.
Okay, all right. For our audience members, if you had, if you'd missed this, Stanley is actually dialing in from Kigali, and he had such a cool story that we hunted him down, and we're like, we absolutely have to talk to him about this. So Stanley, tell me a little bit about. Let's start with your startup. Tell me a little bit about how you decided this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, so I think I could probably spend like 30 minutes sharing how we started Light Up, but I'm going to keep it very short. So a group of friends and I, like, we knew that we loved building tech projects, and we wanted to find out what solutions that we could build that could solve problems. And I grew up using candles and kerosene lamps to study. I think to the age I was 11. Then I had so many health issues due to the fumes from these products. But
Yeah.
then I after studying industrial engineering, like dropping out, coming back home, I did learn a lot, and they did help push me in the direction of like product design and trying to understand. I think even then I didn't even know I was doing product design. I was just calling myself I'm an innovator. I'm a creative technologist. Even the term creative technologist, I was finding it hard to how do I define myself because I didn't want to call myself an engineer. So
Yeah.
yeah, because engineering is entirely different. But when it comes to being a creative technologist, you have like a lot of room to wiggle, to like come up with crazy ideas. The way you define yourself is the way you show up. So I think we started.
Seem to have some technical issues on the side, guys. Just bear with us. I'm sure Stanley will be right back. He's just disappeared, but you definitely want to stay in this webinar series because he's got some very, very cool things to say. Stanley, if it does help, you can keep your camera off. You can just let me know when you're back online. For the audience members, what you can do in the interim, there's the little Q&A box on the side. So you're welcome to just drop some questions that you might have for Stanley over there in the interim. You already have an idea of where this conversation's going. So feel free to start dropping the questions so long. As soon as he comes back online, we'll be able to continue our conversation. Always, if you have any questions for me, since I'm still on the page, any questions that you have with regard to Gradlinc, what Gradlinc does, anything to do the webinar series, just feel free to keep them going. People, please stay put. So welcome. Where we were before we had some interruptions in power, Stanley was going to tell us a little bit about the startup and why he prefers calling himself a creative technologist versus an engineer. So you have the floor, Stanley.
Thank you, thank you. So so sorry about the energy issue, but yeah. So I think I'll just start from like the top of the story. So
Sure.
we wanted to solve a problem because of our shared passion for building technological solutions, and I think that was one of the things that drove what we wanted to do, but then also growing up with the problem itself, which is lack of access to energy, which is currently happening right now. And so we decided to what if we make sure that no other kids go through what we went through growing up. So we started designing energy solutions that are made from recycled materials. And in context of recycled materials are like batteries from used laptops or like components from old PC units and so many different things. So that led us to start Lighted. So Lighted is a renewable energy startup that like recycles and upcycles different types of waste into renewable energy solutions that provide underserved communities access to energy. And we have like different projects. From there, we just scaled, and right now we are still growing and we are scaling some of the projects that we're doing. We're building small charging stations that are made from recycled shipment containers and car parts to like build charging stations where people can go and charge their different solutions as well. It's a constant development from where we were and where we are and where we're heading to. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That is so exciting on so many levels. Like, not only are you using waste products that mostly just end up in the ground, and are not environmentally friendly, but you're using it to actually solve a problem that is very, very important and necessary, which is the energy crisis that's going on. So I think that this is absolutely fantastic. And, I hear you. Like, this is exactly what we need to be talking about for the rest of the webinar series. But I'm already getting quite a few questions, and the biggest one that seems to be coming up right now is, while you were going through this whole process, what are some of the challenges that you encountered, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question. I think one of the the things that happened when I started was you don't get to like have a lot of people tell you like they believe in what you want to do. It's always a vague idea. You're not even sure yourself what you're doing. The truth is, I don't think any of us know what we're doing. We're just like figuring it out as we go. Even
That's so
experts.
true.
Yeah. So I think one of the challenges that I faced was funding is a very important thing. Of course, you need funding, but I don't
Yes.
think funding is the most crucial ingredient to start. So I think finding the right people was easy for me. I had few people that I could trust in the beginning, and the work I have done and the work they have done has brought us where we are. Then I think another thing that is very important is the challenge that I faced was like, yeah, just having a support system. If a lot of people around you, especially family, if the family you have do not 100% like kind of support you, and they're always like, why don't you just focus on school? You can do this and do school at the same time. It's very difficult, of course, and I think family also do that to protect you sometimes. But I think, yeah, I think having to like have consistent problems with my dad when I was starting was one of the major things that could be challenging for any young person because of that push and
Yeah. Okay. Guys, just bear with us. We're having this conversation one way or another. Hey.
yeah.
Have,
Can you hear me?
okay. Okay. We lost you for a second, but you're back. You
Oh,
were saying the
sorry.
challenges, like parents are
Yeah.
a little bit difficult, and your dad.
Exactly. So I think for me, that having like your parents support you at the early stage was the challenge I faced. But I was a very stubborn kid. So I, not like stubborn in general, I was stubborn about my dreams and I knew what I
Yeah.
wanted. I saw the vision. And even when I dropped out from school, it was a bit of hell because they were like, oh, you got a scholarship and you left it. So, yeah. So I think that was most of the challenge. But apart from that, funding was a challenge. But I think I knew how to share what I was doing to tell the story, and I think that helps me get the amount of funding that we needed to get to where we are today. So, and even the funding that we're still getting is because of knowing how to tell your story. I think that's how we overcame those challenges. And now one of the challenges I'm currently facing now is getting the right people. So I think different stages have different challenges. Getting the right people to help you expand on what you're doing. So yeah.
Yeah. So, what stage of the startup is your startup, Stanley? How old are you guys?
So so this is going to make it. We're heading to our third year now.
Oh,
I
okay,
think in a
cool.
couple of 2, 3 months, yeah, we'll be heading into our third year. So we've been around for that, but I think I would say the process itself started like a long time ago. But yeah, register like having a registered startup, having a an office space and stuff. Yeah, that started like 3 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah. So here in South Africa, in the whole startup environment, what's a big thing that everyone always ends up with is pitching and pitching competitions and networking and more pitching and pitching, and you can pretty much pitch in your sleep. Is that sort of what your vibe was when you started everything, or when you were looking for funding?
As a startup, pitching is like consistent. It's something you have to keep on doing. Like it never ends. As a startup, I think then when you grow to a certain level, then obviously you would have like network of investors. When you need money, you reach out to and say, hey, we're doing this, we're raising this funding. And even in that at that stage, you would probably even still need to pitch to someone that has the money to buy into the idea. But in general, what when we started, of course, I started by pitching, and I started pitching in Morocco. I remember one of the sessions I was pitching my idea. Also, a lot of people do some things wrong. Like you have the right idea, but in the wrong location. So I think that's something
Yeah,
I've learned. Yeah,
yeah,
and you're in the wrong competition or wrong incubation program, and you are already, how do I say this, placed in a place that you will not win, you will not get the funding. So I think earlier on I made that mistake a lot. I used to apply for almost all the opportunities I saw. But
yeah,
I think recently I learned that you shouldn't. In 2021, I
hmm,
pitched in 9 different opportunities, and all that 9, I got like, no, I didn't get selected. Even the ones where they were selecting like 9 people out of 20, I didn't even get
yeah,
selected. So it was down. It was like a bit like sad, but then I think late in 2021, early 2022, we did get our first yes, and that was like $35,000. It was like so funny that we lost a total of $35,000 by adding 9 different pitch competitions, and we just pitched for one and got $35,000, and that
yeah.
was like massive. Like it was the pat on the back we needed, and
Of course.
yeah, since then, I think we've pitched for like a couple of other opportunities, and the success rate has increased because then you have traction, you're able to do work. And for that one, we did extremely different than we did. From those 9 no's, I learned how to do it better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could even, like you said, pitch the idea when you wake me up from sleep. I'm like, okay, let's go. So
Yeah, no, but
yeah,
that's so important. Especially when you're in the startup space, you've got to that stubbornness that you spoke of. It's a good thing, because when you're in the startup space, it's like you said, what, like nine no's to one yes in any given time and space, and you've just got to be stubborn. You've got to grit your heels in, and you've got to go, I'm going to do this because I have a cause, and it's a good cause, and I need to get this done, for yourself and for your team. But on that note, Stanley, I have to ask, this the series is a day in your life. So yourself as the CEO of the startup, what is a day like in your life?
ah, I think today is not like tomorrow, and next tomorrow is not like today. So I would say for now, I know a lot of successful like startup founders, and the big ones always say the whole like you have to organize, super discipline and everything. I think I'm in my chaotic phase, and I'm
Ah,
currently just embracing the chaos because I'm a student and I'm running a
yes.
business at the same time. So it is very difficult, and there is no way I could put balance to it. Like, it's definitely not possible. You can't, you just have to have this pendulum effect kind of switch. Whichever side that needs your weight to lift more, you move to that side. Then you come back again, and so there's no balance per se. You
Mm,
just have to adapt really quick. So every a day in my life depends on how the tax comes along, depends on what amount of schoolwork do I have pending, depends on, so yeah, depends on what
yeah.
meetings do I have, what sessions do I have. Like today,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be my third or second meeting. If
Oh.
school wasn't cancelled, this would have been my fourth or I think fifth
Oh,
meeting.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, you just have to learn how to like swing, go with the flow. But at the time where you're able to afford the leisure of resting and finding a more like organized day for yourself, I think
Yeah.
then you should take it. But I don't think when you're a startup and your startup is like 2 years or a year, and you're telling me that you want to chill sometimes and rest and have balance, the truth is it wouldn't grow because you're constantly looking for something, or your service or customers are constantly asking for something. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you're not stopping. People have this assumption that things go quiet. There's no such thing as an 8 to 5 when you're in the startup space. And also your brain is it's constantly going. But Stanley, I must really commend you for that. I appreciate on such a whole level that you admit that it's mostly just chaos, because it's really easy. And this is so specific to our audience members who are students and graduates, because everyone's always giving them advice of just plan, 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 but sometimes things happen and you can't, and
Yeah,
you've just got to roll with whatever's going on in your life.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
the fact that you're also a student at ALU, what you mentioned what you're studying, how's that going? Tell us a bit about university life while being the CEO.
I think university is just there. I think early the university gives us the way it's designed, it allows a student to possibly, if you're strong enough, handle multiple things at the same time while studying.
Yeah.
So yeah. So given that the assignments that we do are more kind of related to the tasks you might be doing as a founder, not like in an academic way, of course, but they do in a way exercise your brain muscle. But if you've never started any business before and you're looking for a place to kind of explore, I think yeah, it gives you that space as well.
Yeah.
So for the balance is like we have like a lot of deadlines in school. So I think balancing that, sometimes I have to like go overboard in working. I have to like stay up all night to get work done and wake up very late and tired and drowsy. And I have to like do a victory dance in the mirror to get myself up. And and probably I don't take coffee. Coffee makes me sleep. I don't know why. So if I would take
What?
coffee, yeah, sadly, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I think university life is just the same thing, like I said, finding that balance. Not finding
Yeah.
the balance, like rolling with the punches, like get the work done, deliver, deliver, deliver. When you have space to like next time, I do have space to like do a project instead, and like I know
Yeah.
I do projects on a steady, so it's something that wouldn't be work to me. So yeah.
Yeah. So, it's always difficult. So everyone handles this kind of a situation differently, right? Like, so personally, if I have 100 things to do, I cope better, as opposed to if I have one or two things to do, then I find myself being like overly lethargic and sort of procrastinating and, all of that nonsense. I'm getting the impression from you that the more you have on your plate, the more efficient you are.
Not really. I don't even like having a lot on my plate, but it's there. I think for me, I would say for me, it's more of if I have a lot of tasks to do, what I do is I try to look at the ones that I have to do really quick. If the deadline is far, I am really horrible at doing it then. Unless if like I have a target, like let's say, okay, I want to play video game this evening and I just want to chill, then I would probably say I will use my morning and finish everything so that when I'm playing that video game, I don't have to think, oh, I have an assignment deadline coming. So I think that's how I work per se. When it comes to like deadlines, but I don't like a lot of work. I prefer them coming small and I'm just taking them as they go. But if they do
Yeah.
pile up, I enter this like zombie mode and I'm like tilling through and hoping that I get everything done. And another
Yeah.
thing is that I like getting like good quality, not like perfectionist, but more of like it has to be good at least. It has to be presentable. It has to get me the grades. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, all right. Are you one of the high achievers who's always looking for distinction grades? Or are you like happy with like a 60 or 65?
I think I wouldn't be happy with a 60 or 65. I wouldn't be happy with that, but I would be happy
Yeah,
with a 70, 80. I'm not like aiming for like 100, but it's so far as I pass the pass mark,
yeah,
I'm chill. I'm okay. Like so far as I get like a pass, but I always put in I think I put that attitude towards my work as well. I make sure like if I'm designing a product, it has to look good, it has to function well. So if I'm doing an assignment, it has to look good, it has to meet the criterias. But if I do like let's say if I get a grade in a particular course, in a particular assignment in a course, and if I look at my average, it's like 85. Other students might like the overachievers might like say, "Hey, I need this to be rectified." For me, I'm like, I'm chill. 85 is still good. So yeah,
yeah. That's great.
exactly.
That's awesome to hear. I have an audience member who's curious about something. The audience member is asking. Stanley said he didn't finish his engineering degree, but now he's doing entrepreneurship. Where did he get his technical knowledge? Considering your product, where does that come from?
So let me put it like this. I started like building stuff when I was like from within the age of I think 14, 15, 16, within that
Yeah.
area of time. I think I started in 2015. So I was around 15, 16, that period of time. So I would say I started tinkering a lot of times and I do a lot of research. I did a lot of chemical related projects. I built like rockets and robots and like I started like way young and I nearly even like blew up my school hostel because I was like trying to invent my own smoke bomb. So
Oh
in
wow.
yeah, I did succeed, but that was the last time I ever built anything that went kaboom. So I think most of the times people do ask me this question, like my technical background, of course. So apart from like reading and studying and like watching, I don't like read a lot. I don't even like reading. I prefer watching videos. rather than reading per se. So I'm more of a visual learner. So most of the things I know are from things I've learned from seeing what other people are doing, or when I'm working on a project, I'm researching. So that's why it's creative technologist. I'm more of like adapting technology to solve a problem in a creative way, and I just have fun doing it. The innovator part is about solving problems and using what other people have built and improving it and looking at the loopholes. Where how did they make this? What is what is there that I can improve? How can I do it better, faster, cheaper, or whatever like schematics I said. But then I
Yeah.
did study industrial engineering for a while. I did get my basics. I did get like my second year, and I was like a very good student then. So I did learn a lot from that. But apart from that, my entire team like this guy studied like system and control engineering, and
Ah,
most of them are like really good at metallic like their constructions and all those like and technical terms and stuff. So I'm more of the guy that makes the designs, the casing of the laptop, and make the laptop
yeah.
look very sleek. And then they
Yeah.
are the guys that make the engine work within the laptop, so per se. So
Nice.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I love that. That's cool. You've got to have a good team. You've clearly got a good team, and you're designing a beautiful product and then running the show and then studying on the side. I think a man wearing many hats. Hey. Okay, so Stanley, we're nearly out of time. I would really love if you could tell us a couple of things. Let's start with one. Especially for our audience members, I mentioned to you that they're mostly students and graduates around, university and finishing university. So, what skills and attributes do you believe are essential for success with the work that you do?
I think one of the skills I think is storytelling. You really need to be good at telling your story. Like you have to be good at it. And that's what
Yeah,
sets me apart with any other person doing what I'm doing. The way I tell my story, the work we do, the way we tell our story. And I think another thing is attribute per se is you have to be really ready to dance. I want to put this in a very cynical way, in the ready to dance in the devil's bed, like which is fire. Like it's difficult,
yeah,
it's painful, it's something you have to be patient with as well. So you have to learn how to be resilient per se,
yeah,
strong and not giving up, but also know when to ask for help. I think knowing when to ask for help is an important attribute needed. Then another skill is people skills. I think people skills is like how to sell a dream to people. If
yeah,
you are, yeah, if you're an entrepreneur per se or doing anything, I think you just have to be like a drug dealer. You need to sell people that
yeah,
dream so
yeah.
that they will come work for you for free. Then once you start
Yeah.
making money, then you can
No,
pay them.
no, that's so true. That's wonderful. Sally, this is so great. I have to end this now and say thank you so much for taking time talking to us. You are a very authentic, very, very awesome human being, and I've had the best time having this conversation with you.
Thank you.
And I can see it from the audience also, lots of engagement. We wish you the very, very best. If you're ever in Cape Town, you've got to look us up. We would love to take you out for a cup of coffee sometime. Hey?
Thank you very much. For
All right.
sure.
Have a
Thank you.
great evening. And I hope your
All
power
right.
comes back soon.
For sure, it should. Please. All right. Awesome.
All
Take
right.
care.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Bye bye.